Well, it started in 2015, and I have lost 127 total so far. Well, I really wasn't all my life, no, my weight wasn't a big issue. After having kids, yeah, I would struggle for a few years and stuff. It was back in about 2004 when I just had some life-changing events happen. I gained 75 pounds in 1 year, and I was just consumed with taking care of my kids and going to college and focusing on my career, that I put me at the very bottom of the barrel. And so over that time frame, I gained a lot of weight. So at one point, a friend asked me, "Are you ever concerned about your weight?" And I looked at her and I said, "No." I really, truly, in my mind, was not concerned. I was sick, very sick in my body, but I looked at that mountain and thought, this is too big. And I just had decided it's just gonna be this way, and I'm okay with it. It's a friend of mine for a long time, and she decided to start praying for me. And so she started praying, and she didn't tell me nothing about it, that she was doing that. And so, but I noticed about 6 weeks to a couple months down the road, I just thought, one morning I woke up, I'm like, I think I'm gonna go walk around the block. And I just started noticing little bit of changes. And then all of a sudden, I started thinking more about losing weight, but it was more of getting healthy. I mean, I was really sick, and I just was like, I'm tired of being tired, and I'm tired of hurting, and I'm tired of going to the doctor. And I'm tired of taking all these pills. And so it was a Tuesday morning at work. I remember I woke up that morning thinking, gosh, something's different about today. And I went to this little tiny church down in Lewiston called Gateway, and we had a Tuesday night service, and I just knew something was different. I went there, and Pastor Herb asked if there was any prayer requests, and this guy got up and asked for prayer, and my heart was just pounding, and I knew I needed to do something. And Pastor Herb asked again, is there somebody else? And I put my little hand up like this, and he's like, Francie, do you have a prayer request? And I said, yes. And I got up and I turned around and looked at everybody in the congregation. There was maybe 20, 25 people. And I said, I have no desire to get healthy, but I know God wants me to. And I just started sobbing. And they all prayed for me. Nothing changed like this, but just slowly over time, I started having a real desire to get healthy. And I started seeking education. And it first started with nutrition, and then it went into exercise.
Wow, that's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So you hadn't previously tried all these different diets and things like that?
Well, you try things, here and there you try things, but my life was so consumed with taking care of my kids and work and everything that I just didn't have time. And I think what's really important for people is that they find time for themselves every day, even if they start off with 20 minutes. If they could just take 20 minutes for themselves, even if it's 20 minutes in the morning, just to sit down and think, what can I do for me 20 minutes? It will change everything.
So what did that look like for you? Because for so many women especially, who are taking care of everyone but themselves, that sounds impossible. So what did that look like in your life where I'm going to designate now time for me?
Well, I looked at my calendar. I looked at my schedule, and what can I do for me? And it was first thing in the morning. I typically get up before my boys did. And so, I started setting my alarm at 4:45. And, it might take me till 5:15 to get out of bed, but, I set a goal, 4:45, I'm going to start getting up. And then about 5:15, 5:30, I designated time for myself. And I just started slowly adding 20 minutes for me every day. And a lot of it, when it comes to, becoming healthy, it starts with your mind and just changing the way you think. And I was a foodie, and I loved looking at food. I loved tasting food, but I had to start changing the way I thought about food. Some food is good for me, and some food is not. And how I determined that was how my body felt after I ate it.
So you just started paying attention.
Yes. Yes. I started paying attention to myself. And some people might call that selfish, but I think my kids would rather have me around an extra 20 to 40 years and not find that selfish.
What sicknesses? You say you were really sick. What types of things were you dealing with?
Oh, migraines, body pain, back pain. I had abnormal lab work, diabetes, pre-diabetic. I struggled with hypoglycemia. And when I met with a nutritionist and a trainer, I told them my biggest fear was my blood sugar dropping. I remember the time when it dropped to 29 and my kids had to call 911. So every time I would exercise, my blood sugar went up and down. And so the nutritionist helped me form a plan to attack that and to prevent it. And so, I mean, that to me was the best thing that could ever happen. So
what are your 3 things? If you had to pick 3 things to tell people, you know, this is what you need to do to get on track, to climb that mountain, as you say, that seemed impossible to overcome.
Okay. So number 1 is write down your fears about it. What are you afraid that you're going to have to face? Because that's what's going to keep you from climbing. So write it down. And then form a support group. It could be Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, Tops. There's a ton of weight support groups out there. And if you don't feel comfortable with them, form your own support group. Mine was my church friends, my friends, and my family. And that, to me, is I ask them to keep me accountable. They're not hounding me if I do something wrong, but they're like just reminding me there's a bigger plan in place. And the third thing is take that 20 minutes and sit down and think about what it would be like if you're at your designated weight. What would it look like? And I did that. I had a picture, exact picture, including my haircut of what I would look like at my designated weight. And on my hard days, my days that I struggle, I pull that memory up and I think about it and I smile and I get right back up and start going forward.
You talk about fears, right? Your fears.
Yeah.
What were some of the fears you had?
Well, again, my biggest fear was hypoglycemia. I mean, I was scared to death of that. So the education with the nutritionist prepared me for it. The other fear was, what if I start and stop? I'm afraid of failure, you know? Okay, well, what if you start and don't stop? Change the way you think, you know? And the other thing was, am I gonna take time away from my family? And my kids, I have 2 amazing boys, and I cherish every time I get to have them. They're 23 and 18 now. My youngest one's a senior. And that's why the morning became really important to me to spend. And so I looked at my schedule and I said I can do it during this time because they're sleeping during this time.
How does someone start to overcome that mountain? I mean, if they have over 100 pounds to lose or something, how do they start to even think of it as possible?
Okay, first off, this is a life change. This is not a scale change. This is a life skills change. So education is the key. So like I said, I surrounded myself with nutritionists, dietitians, and people who have successfully completed it. That lady who pointed her finger at me and said, have you thought about your weight? I talk to her all the time. Her name is Sherry Cook. I love that lady. I'm so thankful she had the courage to ask me that. Not many people did. My doctor did, but really, who listens to their doctor when it comes to weight? But my friend did. And she successfully, lost weight herself. She had lost a lot of weight and has kept it off. And I surrounded myself with like-minded people, but I also read. I got a People magazine of that was an edition of women that had lost over 100 pounds, and I have it next to my bed. And I read their stories, and I have it next to my bed. I also follow a motivational speaker. I listen to a motivational speaker every day. Her name is Terry Saville Foy. Seriously, you get 15 minutes of just motivation and life skills. This is a life skill change that you have to do.
What do you do in practice to actually get your mind to change the way you think about yourself?
Well, one of the things I actually did is I started reading a book. I have this book right here. It's a great book, and it talks about just revamping the way that we think. And then I also started a counselor. I meet with a counselor and just go over just areas that I lacked in life skills growing up. And again, I surround myself with like-minded people. I have people that have successfully overcome large mountains in their lives, not just weight. It could be weight, finances, it could be marriage issues, it could be single life issues, whatever. But I surround myself with like-minded people. And, you just, again, you have to set priority in yourself. And, just changing, just little things like that can make a huge difference.
And then can you give me an example of, maybe the way that you the thoughts that you would say to yourself in your head before versus the way that you talk to yourself now? This
is so funny. This is an excellent question. So before, when I would start to feel that my blood sugar was getting low, I would go in and eat 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Not healthy. It brought me up, but it made me sick. Now, because of the plan, I eat 5 to 6 times a day. And the most important meals to me and they're small, they're snacks, is my, between 9:30 and 10:30 I have a mid-morning snack, which I do, I have a muscle milk and an egg. And then my afternoon snack is an apple and almond butter. And it just regulates my blood sugar. So that was my biggest fear. And then I started my nutritionist told me that you can regulate your blood sugar with good fats such as avocados and sweet potatoes better than you can with sugar. So again, it was education. It was people I surrounded myself with. I took the tools and I applied them. That's how the difference is now. I had gone so far overweight that I thought there's just no way, and what are you going to look like afterwards? Are you going to have extra skin? I mean, that's a big thing, Who cares? Who cares? All I care about now is I'm healthy. I feel it in my head, I feel it in my body, I feel it in my soul. I'm just healthier. I have a better relationship with my family, I have a better relationship with my friends, I have a better work environment. I mean, everything is better. So, just try. I mean, just imagine what it would be like. Anytime I post a picture on Facebook, like a before and after, or some kind of change I made, I get so many private messages that says, help me, I need help, will you meet with me? And I'm like, okay, this is my phone number, but I don't get a lot of response of contacting me. I have had a couple, and I send them a list of questions and I say, okay, here's a list of questions that I want you to answer, and then I'll meet with you. I've had one answer and we're going to be meeting. I mean, again, those people that really have tried and failed and tried and failed, it's a life skills. It starts in the mind. My favorite scripture. It says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Okay, so my pastor said one time, the battle is in the mind, but it's for your heart. Okay, so a lot of this food issue is in the mind, and it all starts when we were little kids. I mean, I was raised by a single mom. We were very poor, and we were raised on venison and potatoes. I mean, I didn't know anything else. A lot of bread and making homemade cookies and stuff like that. I mean, I didn't know anything else. So it's all of this is life skills. And when you look at Jenny Craig and Weight Watchers and all those places, they're teaching you life skills. Hypnosis is rethinking the mind. I mean, a lot of it is all in the mind. And once you just settle, just write down your fears and settle it. Okay, I'm true to myself. This is what I'm afraid of. And then gather people around you and form a plan. It will change everything. The first question is, why are you wanting to lose weight? The second one is, do you have a picture in your mind of what you will look like when you get to your ideal weight? Third one is, what is your ideal weight and why that number? Fourth one, what have you done so far to lose weight? 5th, is your family and friends supported? If not, are you willing to go about it alone? Let me tell you, I hear this all the time. My husband, his favorite thing to do is make pasta. His favorite food is pasta, you know, I mean, or potatoes, stuff like that. I mean, is your husband or is your significant other supportive of you? What exercise or activities do you like to do and why? That was a huge change for me, is I found what I liked, what exercise when exercise entered into the factor, finding what I liked to do was important, because I'll go back. And you'd be surprised what you liked, because my doctor told me, she's like, I want you to try running. I'm like, I have never liked running. Running around the track is so boring to me. I loved running up and down the bleachers. I go to the West Valley, we're in the West Valley School District, and I go to the West Valley High School track and field. And I would go around the track, but it was so boring to me. But when I added the bleachers, running the bleachers, that was fun. I would go back. I still go back and do that. But a friend of mine, so I'm telling my supportive group, and I'm like, she wants me to do this, but I don't like doing this. And a friend of mine, her name's Allie, she says, why don't you try trail running? And I'm like, what is trail running? Never heard of it. So we formed a little group. We go up to Dishman Hills and we started trail running. Do I run the whole trail? Heck no. But every time I go, I try to do a little bit more, and I love it. So I look forward to doing. So that's huge. Hold on. The other question is, what foods do you like? And do you believe you're depressed? Depression plays into a lot of this. Again, it's a lot of it has to do with the mind. 9, do you believe in a higher power? From scale 1 to 10, how important is your higher power? To me, my higher power is God, and it's really important to me that that somebody that I'm working with has some kind of higher power. And 10 is, what type of work do you do and schedule? Because again, we have to look, we got to put a plan together. If you put a plan, it works. It will work for you. There's a scripture I love. It's preparation of the heart of man is from the Lord. You need to prepare for a battle that you're going to fight. So, I mean, those are the questions that I ask.
What has it been like from your boys? Their reaction to see you? I want to know.
Oh boy. Oh, I have 2 very different boys, just to let you know. Both are very happy, very proud of me. But it, you know, especially when I cut my hair and have the hair color, things like that. You know, they are a little like, oh my gosh, this is my mom. Who is my mom? You know, but they're the most supportive people I could ever ask for. And anytime I lose 1 little pound and I tell them, they give me a hug and a high five. And so, yeah, they're my pride and joy.
Once you got started, I know that was kind of what held you back for a while,
Yeah.
feeling like you had to take care of them.
Yeah.
Did their then support actually just keep you going?
Oh yeah. It was funny because I started at the Y, and my youngest son was going to Giorgio's gym. And at one day I dropped him off. And the reason why I started the Y is because they had a pool, and it helped, my joints didn't hurt so bad using the pool water. But after a while, you know, I was doing more in the gym there on the elliptical and a few other things. But after I was dropping my son off at Giorgio's, and I was going to the Y, and he looked at me and he says, Mom, do you think maybe one day we can go to the gym together? And I just said, yeah, let's go. Do you want to go to the Y? He's like, no, my family's at Giorgio's. He's like, I want you to come here. And to me, I could sacrifice the pool, because at that time, it was, you know, I was better and not as much, but that was something that we did together. Now, he got into football, and he does a lot of weightlifting there with his football team. But that was, when he said that to me, it just, my heart melted. I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll do it. Appreciation is one of my favorite parts of the book. That's a very important thing, is it's just appreciate every little pound. Appreciate every little life change. I mean, if you change 1 bad habit a month, okay, in 12 months, you've changed 12. I mean, I really at first did not think I was going to lose 127 pounds, you know, in this amount of time. But, you know, it's just, I'm telling you.
What is it like looking back at your pictures and stuff?
Oh, I get sad. I do. I was so overweight, but the time, how long it was, and how it affected the boys. You know, there's lots of things they wanted to do that I just couldn't do. And so that part bothers me, but then I remember where I'm at. I get in the now, I remember where I'm at, and I get super happy and just appreciate just what I have. I mean, I could have given myself an extra 20, 30 years with my family. And that's all that matters.